Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Imagine you're hacking your way through a dense, completely untamed jungle, right? And suddenly you stumble upon the scattered, forgotten remains of a massive ancient temple complex. It's totally reclaimed by nature. Well, today, that's exactly what we're looking at. We are exploring Madan Kamdev, a site that has literally been shrouded in centuries of pure silence. Okay, let's dive into this because the central question here is absolutely fascinating. Who exactly built what locals affectionately call Assam's forgotten Khajuraho? And, maybe an even bigger puzzle. Why was it completely abandoned? Left to the mercy of the elements and just entirely erased from historical memory?
Swallowed by the forest, the enigma in the jungle. Picture the Duangiri hillock on the outskirts of modern-day Guwahati. It is incredibly quiet, very secluded. It has this really eerie atmosphere. For hundreds of years, this sprawling archaeological treasure was completely swallowed up by thick forest, just a chilling mystery hiding right under everyone's noses.
When archaeologists finally started clearing away that thick jungle overgrowth in the early 1980s, the staggering scale of this place finally came to light. They uncovered the ruins of at least 24 temples, large and small, scattered across a mere 500-meter hillside ridge. It's like a giant puzzle dumped on a hill. And the mystery only deepened when they found even more brick and stone ruins on the neighboring Jalpezwar and Narasingha hills.
But here is the craziest part about the whole shebang: 40. This entire sprawling complex is located at Baihatsa Cheriali, which is just 40 kilometers from modern-day Guwahati. Think about that for a second. To put that into perspective, it's just a short drive away. How does a vibrant, massive temple complex situated so incredibly close to a major historical capital just vanish completely from human memory? No way, right?
Well, what they found beneath all that overgrowth wasn't just dead, boring stone. The site is essentially an erotic carpet of sculpted stones. We're talking vibrant, pulsating carvings, dancing nymphs, six-headed pyravas, griffins, and these wild cosmic figures just jutting right out of the earth. And the centerpiece? It's the ruined Garbhagriha, or inner sanctum. It houses this massive stone idol of Lord Shiva and Parvati in a highly intimate alingana, or embracing posture. Legend of the love god. Mythology meets reality. Now, what's really fascinating here is how local mythology perfectly intertwines with those erotic carvings, and it actually gave the entire region its historical name.
According to local folklore, Kamdev, the Hindu god of love, disturbed Lord Shiva's meditation and, was burnt to ashes by Shiva's wrath. But on Parvati's advice, Shiva actually restored him. So the place where Kamdev regained his rupa, or original form, became known as Kamarupa. Legend says he reunited with his wife Rati right on this very hillock and built the temple to Shiva, Madan Kamdev. That ancient name, Kamarupa, stood all the way until the 13th century when the Ahoms arrived. That's when the region became known as Assam, which is derived from the word Asama, meaning invincible.
Now, just look at the sheer gaps in this timeline. It's wild. The complex was built sometime between the 10th and 12th centuries. Then, nothing. Total obscurity. Fast forward to 1855. A British East India Company administrator named Captain Dalton spotted ruins near the Silsico Bridge. Decades later, in 1943 and 1949, an educator named Tarini Kanta Sarma published articles literally begging the archaeological world to pay attention. And you know what? He was completely ignored. It wasn't until 1977 that the Directorate of Archaeology finally stepped in to excavate. Tantric rituals in stone, the builders behind the art. So, who actually built this massive open-air museum? To understand that, we kind of have to pull a little-known dynasty out of obscurity, the Pallas of Kamarupa. Unlike the Pallas of Bengal, who were Buddhist, the Pallas of Kamarupa were devout patrons of Hinduism. They ruled between the 10th and 12th centuries. Crucially, though, they were fervent followers of Hindu Tantricism. In fact, one of the most important texts in Hindu Tantric worship, the Kalika Purana, was composed right during their reign. Tantric rituals involved a number of erotic practices, which, as you can probably guess, directly inspired the deeply intimate nature of the sculptures we see at Madan Kamdev.
Now, obviously, funding a complex of this magnitude requires some serious wealth, and we know they absolutely had it, operating from their bustling capital at Prajotispur. Just listen to this quote from Pandit Vidyavinod. He was a court poet for King Ratnapala, and he wrote that the king delights in making his copper mines lucrative. They were an incredibly prosperous trading kingdom. That wealth provided the immense resources needed to construct this massive architectural marvel, well before the dynasty ultimately fell to the Palas of Bengal in 1100 CE.
Clues from the rubble, unearthing the final pieces. Sadly, during those long centuries of historical obscurity, the site wasn't entirely untouched by human hands. It was tragically pilfered. Thieves actually raided the ruins in the intervening decades, selling priceless sculptures on the black market. Even local villagers, unknowingly took artifacts away to install in their namgars, their home religious sanctums. We lost a massive wealth of history to that unchecked looting.
But when archaeologists finally got to work in 1977, they found something absolutely amazing. 3 Angashakaras. Actually, wait, let me explain that. These are 1-meter-tall, monolithic models of North India Nagra-style temples. And this brilliantly illustrates a key point. Because the actual temple superstructures were completely destroyed and missing, finding these miniature monolithic models, which were used to decorate the dome's baseline, finally gave archaeologists a crucial, undeniable blueprint of what the full temples originally looked like. A real game changer.
Which brings us to exactly how the complex was destroyed in the first place. As the jungles were cleared, teams found stone plinths neatly lined up, beautifully carved lintels, and exquisite door sills featuring the Kalpa Vriksha, the tree of plenty. But the superstructures themselves just obliterated. By analyzing how the debris and ruins lay violently scattered across the site, archaeologists deduced that this massive complex was wiped out by a devastating earthquake. Which honestly makes perfect sense, as it's a very common occurrence in this highly seismic region.
So, despite all the structural clues we've managed to piece together, we're still left with a lingering sense of wonder. And really, this final, burning question: who exactly built this massive open-air museum, and what other secrets are buried out there in the jungle? We know about the wealth of the Palas of Kamarupa, the erotic tantric rituals, and the destructive earthquake. But historians, they are still no closer to conclusively proving its exact origins or finding every buried artifact. Madan Kamdev remains an enigmatic, entirely unsolved mystery of Northeast India. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember to keep questioning the incredible history hidden right in the world around you.